Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about The Memory of Souls by Jenn Lyons. As you might imagine, we're continuing our reread of the Chorus of Dragons series today with what is perhaps my favorite book of the five. Memory of Souls is where we really get soap operatic, where the family trees that you get when reincarnation and resurrection and body switching and biological gender switching over the course of a lifetime, all of those complicating factors on a family tree, they really come home to roost in Memory of Souls, where we're learning more about past lives. We're seeing the effects of vengeance and planning on current lives, and it all comes to the fore with really what's the grandest battle so far in the series, and a book that sets up the consequences that really tumble through in the final two volumes, with the slightly more contemplative House of Always ahead for early next week. And then, of course, the grand roller coaster of the finale in the Discord of Gods next Tuesday, April 26th. That'll be on your bookshelves. So, The Memory of Souls, it's the middle volume. It's the apex of the series in certain ways. And it is just absolutely delightful. We're spending time in jungles, in wastelands. This is the book where I started making the Chorus of Dragons cocktail mocktail menu for the very first time. And so it is the book that really cemented this idea of our blend of the tropical and the bittersweet, that aperitiki theme for the menu. As you can see, we've got an elephant on the cover, a sign of the prominent role of this goddess of death, Thane, who is responsible in any number of ways for the soap operatic complexity of family trees in our characters' lives. And we see the ways in which not only are we having consequences from actions in the past 20 years, but in the past 4,000, 14,000 years. Because as we've said before, this is a series that's really doing epic fantasy on an absolutely cosmic scale. And we see that even more here in Book 3, where we sort of come to understand in a lot of ways the universal cataclysm that cannot be avoided, that is the sort of driving motivation for some of the actions that we've seen in Book 1 and Book 2, and the reasons why choices have been made. And then, of course, as we head into the back half of the series, the consequences of our choices. It is really a wonderful series, always concerned with consequence and reckoning. We'll discuss that a little bit more early next week with the House of Always. But without any further ado, why don't we turn to today's drink? Across Our Lives, as I mentioned, this is the book where we really get a chance to dive into and see the grand soap operatic quality of the family trees at a scale that we haven't seen yet in the series. And that is what sort of directly influenced today's drink, Across Our Lives, which is sort of an homage to both the Corthaean Blight, a region that we spend some time with in the novel, and this idea of return and reincarnation and resurrection that's really coming even more to the forefront now. So, without any further ado, why don't we start making our drink? We're going to start with half an ounce of gin. Done this with a couple of gins now. First with the Autumn Gin from Short Path Distillery up in Boston. and then with the Tommy Rotter gin from upstate New York. Now we're using the Old Tom gin from Hayman's of London. It's a nice recipe that works well with a variety of gins, and I've enjoyed over the several years that I've been making this drink, seeing the different ways that a different gin is going to change the character of the drink somewhat. So we've got half an ounce of that in there. And this drink is a little bit uncommon because our largest spirit, this blackstrap rum, we'll be adding at the end. So we only start with a half ounce of the gin. Next, we're going to get a quarter ounce, let's start with the quarter ounce of bitter lemon syrup. This is our the first of our slightly bitter ingredients, bittersweet. The bitter lemon works well with soda water and with gin or with whiskey if you top it with seltzer or tonic. It's very nice for spring and summer. I really love the things that they do with syrups over at Pratt Standard, and this is a seasonal favorite of mine, one that I enjoy using in cocktails and then just on its own as well. So sort of lemon peel and slightly herbal, just a wonderfully complex little syrup. So we've got a quarter ounce of that in there. As is often the case with these wonderful Pratt Standard syrups, a little goes a long way, and that is going to carry through over the course of the drink. Now, you might recall from January that we were having trouble sourcing mango juice, and that continues to be the case. So instead of using the pure mango juice that we've used in previous iterations of this drink, we're going to be using a mango nectar instead. Only a blended juice, but it still has some really good, strong mango flavor. And we are going to stick with the half ounce of that there. So we've got a half ounce of mango juice or mango nectar, depending on its availability, and a quarter ounce of the bitter lemon, and a half ounce of our gin. Next, to brighten things up, I'm going to get some lime juice in there. We're going to do a full ounce of lime juice. So I'm going to get my jigger into a little dish here to avoid spilling. And I'm going to juice first the half of this lime. Give that a good squeeze. And what you want to do as you're prepping a lime is to, before you cut your lime in half, to roll it on the surface of your countertop or bar. That's going to release some of the juices, break down some of those cell walls inside the fruit, and give you a bit more juice. I'd also recommend using room temperature fruit, because that's always going to express more juice as well. And we are going to want the second half of our lime. So get that in there, dome side up, and squeeze. Wonderful. Yes. That elbow. And there we go, yeah. And there's our ounce of lime juice. I'm going to have to be very careful not to spill. And there we go. So we'll set that aside for now, and set our juicer aside as well. And then we're going to get 2 dashes of aromatic bitters. We've used the Prohibition aromatic from 1821 in the past. We can also use the classic aromatic bitters, the granddaddy of the bitters world, Angostura, as well. And we're going to want 2 dashes in there. So, as always with the bitters, easy to add more, hard to add less. If you find you want to bring that more to the forefront, add another couple of dashes and you'll be good to go. So, there we go. We've got all of our ingredients, except for the blackstrap rum, in play here. And we are going to get our ice going on. So we're going to get a little bit of ice in there to do our whip shake, as we've been doing the past few drinks. We've done a whip shake, and we're going to want to get a little bit of crushed ice into our glass as well. I like using this Georgian glass for this cocktail because it catches the crushed ice nicely. It's going to look really great with the rum float that we do on top, and it's slightly larger than your standard size cocktail glass without being too much larger, like the double old-fashioned glass that we used last week for the Sing for the Dragon drink for Book 1, The Ruin of Kings. So we've got our ice in there, and we're going to seal that. We're going to shake it up. Wonderful. Give that a good stout tap to open it up. With the whip shake, you really don't need to shake it all that long because you're using the crushed ice and it's already diluting. And we're going to get that down in there. Get our liquid. You might want to hold it back just a bit. Yeah. There we go. A little bit more. And there we go. And then, to finish things off, we have our base spirit, but also our garnishing spirit, the Blackstrap rum from Cruisin'. It's really a wonderful rum, has a primary spirit, and then, of course, with this favorite technique of ours here, the float on top. We're going to get an ounce of that. You can pour it over the back of your bar spoon, but you can also just get that right on top there. And sometimes you are going to spill a little, but that's why you set down a mat and make sure that you've got some paper towels on hand. And then finally, because we've got the layering, we're going to want to have a straw just so that we can drink our drink from whichever level we like, whether we want to get the more rummy top or into the more herbal bottom down below. And so there you have it, Across Our Lives, an aperitiki cocktail in honor of the memory of souls by Jenn Lyons. We'll be continuing our reread of the Chorus of Dragons series early next week with The House of Always, Book 4, before reaching our grand conclusion on Tuesday the 26th with the final volume, The Discord of Gods. Please check out the links down below to purchase this week's book, today's book, to the Boston Shaker for tools and ingredients, bitters, spoons, straws, that sort of thing. As always, we've got links to Twitter and Instagram where there are written versions of today's recipe. And please like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about what we do here, make these drinks at parties, and then tell me about it. Try the drink, let me know what you think. I really always love to hear your comments. And until next time, cheers.